I'm Diane Barrett. I'm here today on the 4th of February 2022, and I'm interviewing Dawn Deason. First of all, let's start with your career. How would you like your career listed?
Oh, currently I'm a filmmaker.
Okay.
Teacher filmmaker, I guess would be good.
Great. How long have you done that?
Well, I started in television when I was 26. So
only for a couple of years then.
I'm 65, so I don't know. It's been a minute.
And what motivated you to seek that profession?
Well, I wanted to do something interesting. I wanted to do something that dealt with current problems.
Mm-hmm.
I was, not really interested in some of the other things that people had told me I should be interested in, like secretarial work or becoming a teacher or all of those girl things, because this is back in the early 80s. And, so there were some women, I could see that there were women who were working in television. I kind of thought at one time I'd like to be like a host, like an anchor. And either have a TV show or a radio show. It didn't go in that direction for me. I didn't pursue it. Once I started working for a television station, I just kind of went where I was needed and learned as much as I could. And then decided I'd rather be a producer.
So considering this is a career and legacy project, if you were to advise someone today to move into the media business, what would be a good first step for them?
I think for young people today, it's really a good idea to get a college education so that you have a well-rounded liberal arts education. And I focused on television because we had that available at where I went to school, which is CSUS. I don't know where you're located, but that would be in Sacramento in California.
We're in Los Angeles.
You're in Los Angeles. Okay, so you're familiar with the California state system. So yeah, I was in state college. And it was great. I mean, I was able to get internships. That really helped getting out there. But if you're going to be in journalism, if you're going to be in not just visual arts, but where you're conveying a message, I think it's super important to have a well-rounded background. Understanding the importance of the truth, understanding the importance of doing your research and trying to eliminate bias from your reporting to the best of your ability, and just fair and to be kind to the opposition. Whatever you're thinking would be the opposition. So 2 sides of the story for everything, at least 2 for every topic. Right. And I think it's important that you treat each side with respect, as if they, treat them like a human being. Fair. I don't see a lot of that nowadays, except for local TV. So I'm a big proponent of local television news because they are held to a different standard than what we think of as cable. It's kind of on the way out now. Cable is becoming streaming, but local TV stations, any broadcast network, ABC, NBC, CBS, they're all held to a higher standard where they can have their licenses revoked if they do not tell the truth.
We've noticed that people are getting in conflicts, right?
Yeah, and there's so much of that now where you just get misinformation, one-sided issues, programs that are just really personality driven and not meant to be news, but they're being called news. So it's real easy to get confused about the truth.
So are you from California or California native?
No, I was born and raised in Texas.
I
came up in West Texas, bush country. And did not, I would say at a young age, I kind of felt like I didn't fit in, and I wasn't sure why, I'll be honest. Didn't figure that out.
How many in your family?
I'm an only child, and I was raised by a single mother most of the time, although she was married once or twice. She was quite a character.
Your mom?
Mom, yeah. Quite a character.
You still have contact with her?
No, my mother passed in 93, so I haven't had her for many years.
A long time.
Except in my heart, of course.
And then how did you end up in Sacramento? What was your journey?
Because I had never actually met my paternal father, and he lived in Southern California at the time. My mother and I both decided to, because of some events in Texas, that might be a good idea to get out of there. So we threw all of our belongings in a station wagon,
right?
A Buick station wagon, and we just hauled across, the country until we came to Southern California. And then we had kind of thought we might go up to Canada, just keep going, but we sort of ran out of gas and energy.
Literally.
Right.
How old were you at that time?
I was 15, I think, between 15
really young.
and 16, somewhere in there. I was so I just started high school. My first year in high school.
So did you come to Sacramento?
I did. I finished high school in Sacramento and then went to college here. Most of my time here in Sacramento, with a little stint where I was married. I'm sorry, I'm having a hot flash. And I was married for a minute. I was actually married for about 10 years to, a very nice guy. Just wasn't turned out I didn't really understand why I wasn't feeling like I was bonding correctly.
That's a good
I
way
was in my 40s. So yeah.
So when did you find the correct bonding direction?
Yeah, so I was working at a television station here in Sacramento after having returned from overseas. We lived in Japan for about 6 years, and when we came back to Sacramento, I was just looking for a job, and I was hired to do something there at Channel 13, and I met this woman, and we became really good friends. And then she just kind of outed herself to me, and it made me start thinking about, yourself. You mean to tell me that you can actually have a relationship with a woman, which is something I felt like I needed for a long time. I always had a best friend,
Right.
Always had that one really close relationship. Never interpreted it as anything other than that, because I come from a maternal family. My grandmother was a matriarch, and we were all really close, my mother and her sisters. And, it was very female dominated in our relationships. So it was okay to love women. It was okay to hug them, hold hands, do all of that stuff. So I just sort of felt like, and I felt always more comfortable with women. And yeah, so when I met this one, I started realizing that my feelings were a lot deeper than, because I was more mature. I was in my 40s. I think I just turned 40. And so I realized that it was deeper than what I had experienced in the past, or maybe things that I had experienced in the past were foreshadowing experiences, but this was something that just really drew me in. Yeah, I fell hard.
That seems to be the time, as I'm interviewing women at 40 to 50s, that they merely make a decision. I was thinking yesterday, actually, now we have so much varied terminology as to our sexuality to choose from, if we didn't hear the word lesbian early enough.
Oh.
So I wondered if the younger women of today, I guess I could find out, can use that term in reference to their feelings when they're in their 20s, for example.
Right, exactly. So is it Deanne or Diane?
Diane.
Okay, so Diane, I think if I had known other women, young women my own age, who identified as being sexually attracted to other women, I may have realized it sooner. I did have a really close relationship with a woman, young woman, when I was in Texas. And I mean, we slept together because it's kind of a long story, but she sort of stayed with me and my mom a lot. And, we didn't have sex, but we held each other all night long, and it was a really close relationship. We were very, we touched each other a lot, not in a sexual way, but, lots of hugging and kissing and holding hands and that sort of thing. And I felt very, very close to her. So looking back at that, I look at pictures of her, and she was very butch, very boyish looking, but I was crazy about her. And she's really one of the reasons why we came to California, because her family lived in Sacramento. So she came with us.
So where is she?
I don't know. We had a.
She could appear.
No, I look for her on Facebook, you know.
Do you? Yeah,
I haven't seen her. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her, but I'm sure she had a great life. She was really smart and very charming. So yeah.
So when you came to Sacramento looking for her in part,
she was with us. She
was.
She came cross country with us. Yeah. And we stayed with her dad for a little while before we got settled. And mother got a job and an apartment, and I went to school, and those things happened. And then I just kind of came up from there. But no, I lost sight of her. She, sometime in my senior year, we parted ways.
That's sad. But that's a familiar cycle for many women, to have close bonding relationships and really not have a label for it.
Oh, exactly. So back to your question, if there was a label, would I have felt? I may have.
Yeah. I think labels are so big now. That's what I was thinking about, that maybe people would identify as lesbian earlier. Because
I don't know that come to think of it, I'm not really sure the label is the thing that I needed. I think I needed the knowledge that these things can really happen, because I remember talking with this young lady, her name is Sue, saying, and we said to each other, wouldn't it be great if we could get married, if we could just be together that way, like have a relationship? And it would be great if we could marry a woman. That would just be awesome. I just didn't think it was possible. I was attractive, and so I was always being hit on by boys and men, and as a young lady. So I just thought that was what I was supposed to do. I thought I was supposed to be with men. I didn't really think there was any other thing. They marry. I wasn't crazy about kids, but you get married and you have your relationships with women. Those are your close bonded relationships. But you get married for, I don't know why, financial reasons. I thought at one time.
The push to get married is very heavy. We all know that.
Yeah, I think my mother really wanted me to get married and have kids, but I was passed away when I was only 6. I was 6 years into the marriage when she passed away.
So you didn't have children in your marriage?
She didn't. No. I'm so grateful for that. I can't even begin to tell you how happy I am that didn't happen. Oh my God. And my current wife she wasn't interested in children either. And it's made our life easier. I don't know, maybe if we get older we might feel lonely, but we don't. We have wonderful friends, and we have a full life.
How long have you been together?
It'll be 20 years next year. I'm 23. It'll be 20 years.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. It's the best thing ever.
Have you ever felt that your sexuality was an impediment to your career?
No, I never did, because it was, let's see, it was like 1987, 1988 when I came out to my husband. We separated. And I started a new life. But in television, there really wasn't nobody made a big deal out of it. Nobody really thought one way or the other. I mean, we had there were gay reporters, there were gay producers. It was in an environment that was really liberal. And so it
was more commonplace.
Nobody insulted. I mean, I was never made fun of. Nobody ever insulted me. I didn't suffer any of the arrows that other people have, slings and arrows.
That's good. No, that's a positive thing. This is
good. But too, Diane, I was 40, I wasn't a kid. So if somebody gave me a bad time, I would have known what to do about it. Like to the supervisor, or take it on a personal level and just deal with it straight on. And but it never happened. I'm glad I was never faced with something like that, because I know it's really, really hard. But again, I mean, I passed for straight. Still do. I don't have any of the some women are really butch and they have this boyish know,
Not
affectation.
your style.
That's the right way to say present. They present very manly. I never have. I've always been, you know, a lipstick lesbian.
I know, I've heard that name, not for a long time. I heard it when I was in my late 20s, some time ago, yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your focus in your career now?
So now I'm like working, I'm headed toward retirement. I teach. It's been difficult with COVID, but so I was hired to work at this studio that teaches adults with disabilities the arts of filmmaking and some
interesting. Physical disabilities or other kinds?
Mostly developmental disabled. So we have many of our students are autistic, and some have other challenges. Down syndrome, Williams syndrome, some other things. Yeah. But you know, the ones that are in our program are very capable. You know, there's so many different levels of what it can be like, what your experience can be like when you have intellectual disabilities. The people that we work with are pretty capable of doing practically anything they set their minds to, which is nice. Yeah.
So what drew you to that?
Well, remember when I told you about the woman I fell in love with back at Channel 13? Well, she was somewhat of a local celebrity and was known, you know, by some people in Hollywood. So she got a call from Joey Travolta, who's John's older brother. He was starting a film and media school here in Sacramento for the disabled community. That's where his focus is. So she called me. We stayed friends, even though our relationship didn't work out. We stayed friends, really good friends. And she said, you know, Dawn, we need somebody to teach editing and, you know, writing to the students. Do you think you'd be interested? At the time, I was an independent contractor, just working for different companies, creating videos for their websites or presentations, you know, and events. And I said, you know, okay, let's do that. Let's do that. So that was back in 2013, almost 10 years. And I've
long time now.
Yeah. And I'm very fortunate because I can scale back what I do. For a while there, I was working 5 days a week. Then I scaled back to like 2 days a week. And now I'm like
retiring.
Yeah.
You're getting more.
Because I'm an independent contractor, I can kind of move in and out as needed. And that's good because COVID has been really a problem for a lot of people. And it was difficult for me because all of my contracts ended. I mean, this was one of my contracts. I had other contracts as well. Those all disappeared. Yeah, nobody.
If it wasn't for COVID and Zoom, we wouldn't do our project.
Yeah, you know, congratulations on what you're doing because I know I know what it takes. I have a project similar to what you did, but the style is totally different. It's called Legends of Courage. And it's on Vimeo if you want to look it up. It's Legends of Courage on Vimeo and it'll come up. So I'd made a documentary about a local lesbian, kind of famous lesbian. She's a civil rights attorney, and her practice really made a big difference.
I'm vaguely familiar with that.
Rosemary Matrailer, yeah.
Right, could be.
About Rosie. Yeah, so Charlene and I don't know, you talked to Charlene for a bit.
We'd like to do interviews of individuals, then the couples, if they.
Oh yeah, well, Charlene is awesome. She's done so much in her life. I was kind of shy about coming on because compared to her, I mean, she's been so busy with politics and civil rights and in the disability community as well as in the gay community. She's active in Stonewall for many years. She started the Stonewall Foundation, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, to sign up for an interview. We'd love to interview her.
So Charlene and I have worked together on the Legends of Courage project, Rosemary Matrailer documentary, and other, you know, oral history projects like what we're doing here, only just the style is a little different. And so anyway, she's done a lot of that work. And we're talking about talking to more people who are in the trans community because we feel like the representation for people's struggles as a trans American is really hard and not as much has been told about their stories as we would like to see. So we've done 3 stories about trans women. Now we're looking to do a story about a trans man, but what happened was COVID, boom, blew up.
I know the trans is very here. Have you been to the center here, the lesbian, gay
No,
center?
I haven't been down to LA.
Huge support of trans culture and some protection. They're actually protecting them.
Good. That's so important. I mean,
It is,
somebody get
right.
killed every year.
And there's a lot of governmental funding that's coming through now. So
Good. Thank you, Biden.
I'll try to capture that. Right.
Thank you,
So what's the most peak moment in your life so far?
Oh, I would say, well, there might be 2. I mean, one is my wedding day.
But
Like,
you got married, right?
got the rest of my life came together with that, with my wife, Pat, and our life together has just been so wonderful. Just a great partner.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a teacher and she's still teaching. She's younger than I am. She's about 8.5 years younger than I am, almost 9.
Where did you meet?
So I like to tell people we met in church, but of course, at a bar.
Well, because I want to pray.
Because that's where we go, right? If you want to meet a chick, you got to go to the lesbian bar in town. So, I was single, trying to date, didn't really know what I was looking for. It's a little bit lost, but I was out there, thinking I am ready for a relationship. By that time I was about 40. I was 44. So I was 4 years into, I guess, into the lesbian experience as I had it. And I had kind of.
Oh, it's different for everyone.
Yeah, it's different. And I was rough for me. I had a rough time with the husband, rough time with the relationship that I left him for, not working now, a rough time with the Band-Aid relationship that came after that. Which was kind of brutal, but.
So did you ever become suicidal?
I did. I'm sorry.
Did you ever become suicidal?
Oh, no, I didn't become suicidal. I was just depressed.
I just asked that because that was a motivating factor for us starting this. We knew of someone that struggled coming out, a young woman, and she did not kill herself, but she came very close.
Yeah, so many do.
Well, we don't know how many do.
Well,
really?
Yeah, I mean, there's no record exactly, but we do hear of the cases of people that are so, I don't know, ostracized by their families, unaccepted. My mother was dead by then, and my father, who was never really a part of my life, I called him and told him, when I came out to him, he goes, "Oh, well, I understand that. I like women too." He was like,
I know. Where do they think of that? Where did that response come from? Thank you.
He was kind of a rake, actually. He totally got
it. So that was one peak experience, getting married. I understand that.
Yeah. And then finishing the documentary with Rosie was a good experience for me. Stressful getting there, but once we were done, I felt really great. That was and I love Rosemary. We've become friends. If she didn't live so far away, I'd see her more often. Yeah, good for you. Oh, that's why we started Legends of Courage.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, we were encouraged by someone who kind of helped fund us in the beginning. She saw the project. I guess it was Spielberg did the project of, as the people who were afflicted by the Holocaust, who were in prison camps and all that. Are starting to die off. He wanted to collect their stories. And so that gave my friend Camille the idea that people in our community are starting to die off and their stories are dying.
That's right.
And especially women. So she helped us kind of get this idea together. She wanted to do a story about Rosie Matraylor, and it started with her. And then each interview that we did about Rosie, we turned into a personal story. I love those personal stories too, and I'm way behind on my editing on that project. So
I didn't know that women were part of the Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I knew men that had been discharged, but I didn't know women. So if you knew that your life was going to be ending soon, what would you like to be remembered for?
It's interesting. I guess I would like to be remembered for the work that I did at the film festival. I worked for the Gay and Lesbian Film Festival for 12 years, president for at least 6 of those years. and the work that I did on the Rosie Matrailer story. That's a legacy piece for me. Otherwise, I just want to be good to my wife and have a good life with her.
We're going to put that in quotes and send it to her.
Yeah.
This is the commitment. No, we want you. The women who I've interviewed were professionals. They had different careers, of course, but they're doing other things. And I want to start like what I'm calling the segue. So we can look at your interview, for example.
Okay.
And then maybe people will be interested in one of your projects. You could send me a synopsis or a link to your projects, and then the person could open that up.
Okay.
So,
I'll put it in the chat.
right. So that the person viewing this in the archives, for example, could open that up and.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual, let me see if I can pull up the link.
We haven't even developed that, it's still in the talking phase. But one of the women, speaking of the Holocaust, she's in Santa Fe, and she did a whole Holocaust museum project. It's stunning. And,
did she? I'm sorry, I was kind of doing this
yeah,
thing here.
Santa Fe has a huge Holocaust museum. Her name is Sherry Smith.
Oh.
And she sent me all her links, so it made me think, whoa, let's keep, we're not going to stop. People that are like us don't stop. Death stops us, that's it. It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going to retire. I retired, now look what I'm doing.
Yeah, so have I retired? Not really. I'm just trying to get this link from Vimeo and it's not coming up.
That's okay, you can send it later. But keep in mind that it's a way to promote you and what you've accomplished, but also to simulate what can be accomplished. I always think there's no original thought, we just build on it.
Here it is. No, you're absolutely right. No, everybody does. They get their inspiration from masters and then they change things to be a reflection of who they are.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. That's it.
Okay, good.
That's the link. Yeah, so we have a couple of things we're still working on. 2 or 3 stories that I need to finish editing before we'll pass on.
You have time.
Of older people. Yeah. A lot has happened in Sacramento because we are the capital, and so a lot of things have happened here. Important work for all of us.
Well, it's good that you're involved.
Somewhat, yeah. I'm taking a back seat now. I'm really more interested in retiring. I'm more interested in, so I've taken up learning about herbs and, home remedies.
Natural.
My own creams and salves and soaps and cleaning products and all of that from my kitchen. So I'm starting a little YouTube channel called Dee Kitchen Concoctions.
You see, that's something we could put in the segue.
Yeah, I don't know if that hasn't started. I think
It doesn't have to be completed. It just has to be ongoing.
To be ongoing. I'll send you a link when I get it going, which will be another 6 months or so. But
fine, I'll look for it.
Thank you. That's very
So
nice.
in closing, I'd like to thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Encourage your referrals, your partner, and I can tell many, many wonderful women.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate being included